Make a motion to nominate Chris Bell as the chairperson for tonight's meeting, March 3rd, 2025.
I'll second that.
Anybody opposed? No. Motion carries.
Anybody in favor?
Anybody in favor?
We're all in favor.
We're all in favor.
All right.
Motion carries.
All right,
Congratulations.
then I will call this meeting of the City of Portland Planning Commission to order. It is 5:34 on March 3rd, 2025. First. First item on the agenda is an extension for the site plan approval from May 22nd, 2023 for 37 to 39 Port Watson Street. Is anyone here to speak on that?
That would be me. So this has been outstanding for quite some time. Mr. Gallo just out of the blue called me a couple weeks ago and said he'd like to put this back on the agenda. Whatever, if you do vote for an extension, it would be retro to when the last one expired, and I would say that this should probably be the last extension. If you do choose to give it to him, he's got to come back to a full review and also have that contingent on that your approvals of the plans that were significantly approved before. You can't make any changes. That's when I discussed this with the county. That's what they said, to make sure you guys put that as because it has been so long. Yeah.
With a lot of.
We're on year 3. And was this project connected with the DRI downtown?
At one time, I think it was, and he had money, but he was having trouble finding the contractor that met the requirements of the grant, and I don't, so so when I talked to him, I said, you know, this is gonna be it. That's what I thought. See, they'll probably grant you a retroactive, you know, it'll be a year from tonight, and plus whatever the retroactive is, and that'll be it. And then you'll have to come back to a full review. And again, please put a stipulation in there that he is, whatever approval is given tonight for that extension, it has to be of the original plans that were approved at the last meeting. No changes can be made.
Any discussion about that?
Nope.
Can I hear a motion to approve an extension retroactive to when the last extension expired and for 1 year from today, with a stipulation that there be no changes to the approved site plan without a full review, another full review.
Also, that this will be the last
And this will
extension.
be the last extension before another full review is required.
Extension is just 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this extension is here, and it'll be retroactive back to 5/22/24. Okay.
So isn't it just extended 1 year from tonight?
It is extended, but it's already expired.
So, yeah,
Oh,
they.
expired.
Continued all the way
Yeah.
back. Somebody made
Make
that
a
motion.
I'll second that
So
motion.
you did a year extension on the 23 or whatever.
Yep.
Correct.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any further discussion on that?
Actually, yeah, I stand corrected. So that 5/22/23, that May 22nd, that was the original, so it would have been 6 months after that. He would have needed an extension that he never applied for, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, retro
So we're
to
going
6
back
months after.
18 months?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
You guys could do that, it just,
Just did.
well, I talked to the county and that's what they recommend.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fast.
all right. Agenda item number 2. Um. 79 Pomeroy Street, zoning map change. Uh, Anyone here to speak on that?
Got a couple folks, myself, Don Armstrong and Greg Long's here too.
Gotta get you on camera, there you go, perfect.
Welcome.
It's, if you've looked at the papers, I mean, the application is, for a zone change. This came up, the business has been there, Skyline's been there for, over 50 years, is that right?
Since 68.
And so he's looking to sell. And of course, pursuing the sale, it was discovered that the zoning boundary runs through the property, so a good portion of the back is residential. The front is G2, I believe. So went to the ZBA once. They got the recommendation for the zone change, then it was referred, I believe, Roy, the next step, it was referred to county planning. They came back with an affirmative recommendation. And we went back to the ZBA last Monday. They approved the zone change. From their perspective, I guess would be regarded as a variance approval. So you're part of the process, of course, the site plan. And the hope is that you approve the application, and I guess the next step, and Andrea and I were talking about it earlier today, it requires common council approval, I believe. And I'm not quite sure if it would take a local law or just by resolution, so that's something that we're looking at, but this is, you know, part of that, the process going forward. You know, it's not gonna, an approval will not change anything in terms of the operation of the property. It's all been operated as a business for those 50+ years, so. Here to end.
Spot on.
I just wanna add, like I said, it could have been one of the three, R2, GB2, or general industrial.
Right.
And GB2 is kind of that mid-range. It has more uses, but it's not as open as GI and not as restrictive as an R2 would be. So it's just, it's common sense, basically.
So for this, we'll need to, vote to, I guess, encourage, or we make a resolution to recommend to council that this
Yes.
be changed, and then we'll need to go over part 2 of the seeker. So can I have a motion to approve the zone change to GV2 for this property?
Which includes the recommendation, correct?
Yes, and a recommendation to the common council,
I'll second that.
seconded. All those in favor of that?
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, so we will move on to the
Excuse me.
part 2 of the
I'm just gonna ask the question.
seeker.
If you wanna be here for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who's the official? I don't even, so I have a few.
Yeah, it's over there. Now, why do we have to do the long form of the seeker?
Cause it's a law change.
Cause it's why?
It's a law change.
Oh,
I'll get my fast reading,
yeah.
do my best here. Okay. Um. Question 1, impact on land. The proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of land surface for the proposed site. That is a no. As far as I see it.
Yeah, as it stands right now.
So we can just switch to go to question two. Impact on geological features. The proposed action may result in modification or destruction of or inhibit access to any unique or unusual landforms on the site. That is a no to my mind. Any
Yeah.
Discussion.
It's a no.
Impact on surface water. Proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water bodies. That is a no as far as I know. Impact on groundwater. Proposed action may result in new or additional use of groundwater or may have the potential to introduce contaminants to groundwater or an aquifer. No.
Nope.
Impact on flooding, question 5, the proposed action may result in development on lands subject to flooding. No. Question 6, impacts on air, the proposed action may include state regulated air emission source. No. Question 7, impact on plants and animals, the proposed action may result in a loss of flora or fauna. No. Question 8, impact on agricultural resources, the proposed action may impact agricultural resources. I would say no on that as well. Question 9, impact on aesthetic resources. The land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or in sharp contrast to current land use patterns between the proposed project and a scenic or aesthetic resource. No. Question 10, impact on historic and archaeological resources. The proposed action may occur in or adjacent to historic or archaeological resources. No. Question 11, impact on open space and recreation. Proposed action may result in the loss of recreational opportunities or reduction of an open space resource as designated in any adopted municipal open space plan. No, not that I know of. Question 12, impact on critical environmental areas. Proposed action may be located within or adjacent to a critical environmental area, CEA. No, not that I know of. Question 13, impact on transportation. The proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation systems. No, not that I know of. We know of, anyone? Question 14, impact on energy. The proposed action may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy. No. Impact on noise, odor, and light. The proposed action may result in an increase in noise, odor, or outdoor lighting. No,
Depending on what they're changing it to.
they're only changing.
Yeah, they're only changing the zone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Somebody else
that's-
can-
everything-
Somebody else can worry about it.
Use
Gotcha.
after this, then we can
Yeah.
get it done, so
Yeah,
this
everything's
is really all.
staying the same.
Question 16, impact on human health. Proposed action may have an impact on human health, exposure to or existing sources of contaminants. No. Nope. Question 17, consistency with community plans. Proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. No.
Nope.
So make it more consistent. Question 18, consistency with community character. Proposed project is inconsistent with the existing community character.
It's in there, looking at that.
So it should, a double negative, yeah.
Yeah.
So that is part 2. Andy, do we need to do anything with part 3? Well, we answered no to 18, so it says if no, proceed to part 3, but I don't know if that.
Yeah, so we're good.
Oh, so this is the determination of significance.
Yes. So let's see.
I think the information is sufficient for the lead agency, being us, city, to conclude the proposed action will not have a significant adverse environmental impact. So we will complete that certification.
All right, so, A or B there, I didn't follow which is them.
That will be this project will have no significant adverse impact on the environment. And therefore, an environmental impact statement need not be prepared. Accordingly, this negative declaration is issued.
Could you put that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I can. Do I hear a motion that,
Yeah, I'll make the negative
No,
declaration
yeah.
motion.
okay, and a second?
I'll second. Thanks.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
We have a negative.
Negatively declared that secret.
Just Christie sign, or is that we have it next time?
We'll type that up and get official signatures, but.
Yeah, so, Roy, procedurally. You'd be looking at the county council approving this or considering it.
So the town council have the secret, they'll have all the documents, all supporting documents over the course of this whole fair. And then they'll make the determination whether or not about the law change. So
We don't need to sign anything tonight.
I would prefer if you sign that document right there,
That's what I thought I said earlier.
and that's not gonna, that's just gonna be, showed that you guys did the original. I'm gonna type it up so it looks real nice for the records. And then,
I could probably sign it as board secretary and clerk.
hey, Andy. I can take a look at this real quick.
So you probably.
I think it's that guy.
Maybe just do your content, I don't know where you would sign it.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out.
I guess your signature
Signature
responsible
responsible
officer.
officer and lead agency.
And the lead agency is the planning commission that asks, so name of the action. Name of the lead agency, fill those two out. I get you the temporary chair. Sign it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your turn of chair.
Right?
Yeah.
I think you're gonna get voted next time.
Yeah. You do well.
This experience my sins. Yeah. This. I'm the only one with experience. No, just set me up. That's
So we saved the middle for you.
Throwing is. Name of action. So the name of the action, a negative declaration.
Yeah.
Yeah. The motion was made.
Yep.
Which the
Do something, Mr. Armstrong, to sign, Andy.
that should be the pretty. I think. That is. As it should be.
Yes, yeah, so we're comparing to, but so, we motion to pay the negative.
Yeah, declaration.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to agenda, item number 3. 110 Fort Washington Street. Site plan review for underground tank. Replacement. Yes. I don't hear to speak on that.
I am Eric Ross.
Great.
We've been through county planning and zoning. It's a pretty standard tank replacement. I'll do the tanks. With piping and make the whole system newer and safer.
All right. Any questions? No, yeah, I think, yeah, we'll go through the. Full form here, but
So you're replacing the existing tank and the new tank will be above ground?
No, below ground in the same
Below
spot.
ground.
Yeah,
It's just the one tank,
there's
3.
three going in, correct?
Are you gonna do it stages, we got all 3 out at the same time?
Oh,
So he's here because the canopy's gonna undergo some changes. They're taking out the fire protection equipment, which is no longer required. Putting in new pumps, I imagine the new pumps are gonna have different logos on them. Also, they gotta put a enclosure on the existing dumpsters, which is also in your privy.
I see the dumpsters are to toward the rear of the property on the train track side.
Yeah, they're back.
Right, so there's a couple variances involved with this one as well, right? There's the lot coverage and.
So they were granted the lot coverage and they were granted the front, the setbacks, because the canopy doesn't meet the
Right,
minimum setback. They were not granted the pole sign.
they're gonna make the sign compliant.
Yeah, so a year they gave him a year, but point was made that that year will put him right in the dead set of winter, so you really can't dig the ground and stuff like that, so a year and a couple months, I think is reasonable. If you guys wanna mirror whatever they said, or you don't have to.
Make a date that's guarantees some warm weather to make sure they make it, or just say.
Yeah, make a date, I
contingent
mean,
on weather.
I think April or May is reasonable, they can start, because that sign has to go, or they gotta bring it into compliance by making it not a pole sign, but a ground sign.
So do we wrap that all into everything, or do we do that?
Wrap it all and everything, and then you gotta do the secret for this one as well.
Do the site plan approval and then it's. You said the fire suppression is no longer needed?
No,
Really?
so New York State found out that the actual suppression systems in these gas stations were going off more accidentally than they were going off on purpose. And and they also weird, I'll just explain this to you real quick, weird things like the actual the hold openers for the gas tanks that they took away back in the 80s, because well, now they're back again because they were finding people were shoving things in there, which was actually worse than the actual hold openers that. So any pump has to comply with a certain ANSI standard. And if the pump complies with A, B, and C of the ANSI standard, then it no longer needs the ANSI system.
Is there a maintenance nightmare?
Yeah.
If there's no further discussion, can I hear a motion to approve the site plan as submitted? With the stipulation that the sign be brought into compliance within 15 months. Gives extra time. As I'm following the other requirements of county planning and the zoning board. I make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Alright, so the motion is to approve,
The site.
just like, with same conditions, same.
The ZBA, yeah, same conditions the county said, same conditions that the ZBA did, but they're gonna add a month or two to that compliance with the sign
12
because
months for the sign to come to
We'll get
compliance, 15
months. Okay, thank you.
So that motion passes, and so we will. Do the part two of the seeker. And I will read out those questions again.
I would just caution you to read into those a little bit more for this project, because there is hazardous materials involved.
Sure.
Yeah, I think this is automatic.
This one's not straightforward. yeah.
And there is a table on site that is very near where they're digging. So this could affect water too. So
Yeah, I think this goes.
I think they're taking the proper precautions.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure when you do the secret, you understand the full scope of the job.
yeah, thank you. There at least is a testing plan in place.
It also counties. Soil and Water will be doing on-site inspections for the city, because they are pumping the excess groundwater into the stormwater system.
Okay.
That process was already approved by the DEC.
Okay.
Which I have not got a document of approval from the DEC for that project, so I'm gonna need that document, please. So they did the core samples and everything that they're supposed to do. And these are not, you said they're not the old steel tanks, they're
The new tanks are fiberglass.
the fiberglass, what are the old tanks?
The old tanks, I think those are fiberglass too, at this location.
So,
They're double.
so they're fiberglass, so they're not as apt to as deterioration as the old steel tanks used to be. However, they're industry empty, which means there's still some
Right.
residual gasoline in there, so in the process of moving them out, they could tear or break, causing some spillage into the soil, and assuming you have a cleanup plan if that happens.
Yes.
DEC kind of takes over, that's all that needs.
Yep, but just
These folks-
while you're doing the secret, please
Sure.
keep that in mind,
Yeah,
because there are some potential negative impacts here.
Absolutely. All right. Question number one, impact on land. The proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface of the proposed site. Yes. Yes. 1A, the proposed action may involve construction on land where depth of water table is less than 3 feet.
That's,
I think
it's
13.
or was it 13
At
feet?
least what I read through. It said
All right.
13.
So it's, I mean, it's a lot closer than what you would think there, but yeah, so it's not, yeah.
Again, I don't know what their depth is, maybe there. Right, that's a good point. I mean, that's how deep the tanks are. And then they're going 3 feet below that. Yeah, so they could be, that's a good point.
You know the answer to that?
I'm sorry,
We
we go to a
discussed-
depth of about 15 feet.
How much?
15 feet. This is the bottom of the tank excavation.
Okay. So we're gonna say moderate to large impact may occur with that. Sure.
Yes.
This is just our best guess. The proposed action may involve construction on slopes of 15% or greater. I would say no. Proposed action may involve construction on land where bedrock is exposed or generally within 5 feet of existing ground surface. I believe that is a no also. The proposed action may involve the excavation or removal of more than 1,000 tons of natural material. Nope, that's a no. The proposed action may involve construction that continues for more than 1 year on or in multiple phases. That's a no. Proposed action may result in increased erosion, whether from physical disturbance or vegetation removal, including treatment by herbicides. Nope. No, that's a no. Proposed action is or may be located within a coastal erosion hazard zone. No. Any other impacts? No. Okay. Question 2, impact on geological features. The proposed action may result in the modification or destruction of or inhibit access to any unique or unusual landforms on this site. For example, cliffs, dunes, minerals, fossils, caves. Nope. No. Okay. Question 3, impacts on surface water. Proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water bodies. E.g., streams, rivers, ponds, or lakes. No. Question 4, impact on groundwater. Proposed action may result in new or additional use of groundwater, or may have the potential to introduce contaminants to groundwater or an aquifer. That is a possibility to.
So that's yes.
Yeah. So, to go through the points, question 4. Question 4A, proposed action may require new water supply wells. Or create additional demand on water supply. Or on supplies from existing water supply wells. That I believe is a no. Water supply demand from the proposed action may exceed safe and sustainable withdrawal capacity.
No.
Rate of the local supply or aquifer, no. The proposed action may allow or result in residential uses in areas without water and sewer services, no. Proposed action may include or require wastewater discharge to groundwater. That is a possibility based on what you said, right?
I mean, it sounds, yeah, I mean, they're putting it in the storm sewer, which goes right to the river, so.
So moderate for that.
Yes.
So they are monitoring any potential I mean, I'm assuming,
The water will all the groundwater will get pumped into a frac tank first, the big on-site tank. And that's before it gets released.
I mean, there's just potential
Yeah.
something could go wrong, I guess that's all.
Yeah.
It's nothing that you guys won't do anything to do this. 4E, the proposed action may result in the construction of water supply wells in locations where groundwater is or is suspected to be contaminated. No,
Chris,
Yes.
on D, you said,
moderate
okay, thank you.
to large impact may occur.
E is a no.
What's that?
E.
E is yes, 4E is a no. 4F, the proposed action may require the bulk storage of petroleum, chemical products over groundwater or an aquifer. That is a yes, for a moderate to large impact. 4G, the proposed action may involve the commercial application of pesticide within 100 feet of public irrigation sources. No. Any other impacts to discuss? Okay, moving on to question 5. Impact on flooding, the action. I'm sorry, the proposed action may result in development on land subject to flooding. Nope. That's a no. Question 6, impact on air, the proposed action may include state regulated air emission source.
You're doing. Air monitoring, you're digging up that stuff?
They're monitoring, it's when we're pulling the tanks. Yeah,
That's with VOCs,
for, yes, I'm sorry.
so they are air monitoring.
Okay, so this could have an impact,
For that 2-day period,
right?
yes.
Okay. So impact on air is yes. Question 6. So question 6A, if the proposed action requires federal or state air emission permits, the action may also emit one or more greenhouse gases at or above the following levels.
Will there be a permit?
Is there a federal permit?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
So I think you're right. Like, you have to go through them all, probably have to go through them all.
Yeah, I suppose we do. So 6A1, more than 1,000 tons per year of carbon dioxide, no or small impact. More than 3.5 tons per year of nitrous oxide, no or small impact. More than 1,000 tons per year of carbon equivalent perfluorocarbons. No or small impact. More than 0.045 tons per year of sulfur hexafluoride. No or small impact. More than 1,000 tons per year of carbon dioxide equivalent hydrochlorofluorocarbons emissions.
It's, no.
No or small impact. And 43 tons per year or more of methane. No or small impact. 6B now, the proposed action may generate 10 tons per year or more of any one of the designated hazardous air pollutants. Or 25 tons per year or any more, any combination of such hazardous air pollutants.
They know,
I think no.
it's over here.
Right. The proposed action may require a state air registration or may produce an emission rate total of contaminants that exceed 5 pounds per hour or may include a heat source capable of producing more than 10 million BTUs per hour.
It's a possibility. No.
Yeah.
Oh, if it caught fire.
Well,
That state,
well, I'm asking
that state air registration is that required?
I'm sorry.
Is there that permitting? Is that the state air registration?
State registration is yes.
Okay, so. That will be a moderate or large impact. Or question C. 6D now, the proposed action may reach 50% of any of the thresholds in A through C above. I don't think so, but. I don't know, you have any thoughts on that? Probably not that great person to be answering.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
No idea.
would be
So
safer.
if you answered yes to C,
We answered yes to C because it requires the state air registration
oh, as opposed
as
to,
opposed to the
okay,
emissions,
got it.
but that's mostly because.
What's the impact of no versus yes? Or this case, if nothing happens, we're still covered.
Well.
Yeah, so they've been-
Declaring,
They're providing, the reason why you're going through this checklist, and like, I'm not an attorney, nor did I sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night. The guy's Don, maybe Don helps. The reason why you're doing through this is if any yes questions you come to. And I've been doing that with him, if you haven't, so any yes, I'm thinking, what possibly, how can we fix this problem?
Right.
In this case, it's air monitoring to make sure it doesn't reach a flammable or dangerous level.
right, so we've already, based on question 6C, we've already said that this could have an effect on emissions. So I don't think saying no will affect,
So, I mean, just for instance, like you brought up hydrofluorocarbons a couple times.
yeah.
Gasoline is a hydrofluorocarbon.
Fact, yes.
But I don't think it's gonna exceed that level to
Right.
bring it up.
So we can say no.
Yeah,
Okay.
so 6D is no. 6E now, the proposed action may result in the combustion or thermal treatment more than 1 ton of refuse per hour. Probably unlikely that there's 1 ton of,
No, it's first of all, it's not, it's a liquid. I mean, it's a vapor, so it's not by definition. Refuge, just as, that was probably more like
right,
for,
yeah, that's true, no. Okay. And any other impacts that the board wants to discuss? Impact on plants and animals, question 7. Proposed action may result in loss of flora or fauna. I'm thinking that's a no. Not on site, grab it. Question 8, the impact on agricultural resources, the proposed action may impact agricultural resources, no. Section 9, impact on aesthetic resources, the land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or are contrast to current land use patterns between the proposed project and a scenic or aesthetic resource. I think that's a no. Question 10, impact on historic and archaeological resources, the proposed action may occur in or adjacent to a historic or archaeological resource, no.
don't know, is Crescent, historical building?
The one on, yeah, right, one that's not across the street, yeah, that one building's.
Do you know, Andy? Crescent, get it?
I don't know that designation or not, but you look at.
It's, the tracks are in between there and
Yeah.
So
Just
theoretically,
trying to make sure every i's dotted and t's are crossed, that's all.
be more concerned if we were changing.
Yeah, I get it, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys aren't concerned, I'm not, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Question 11, impact on open space and recreation. Proposed action may result in a loss of recreation opportunities or reduction of an open space resource as designated in any adopted municipal open space plan. That is a no. Impact on critical environmental areas. The proposed action may be located within or adjacent to a critical environmental area. I believe that is a no. Question 13, impact on transportation. The proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation systems.
any other area to be paved over? Any new areas to be paved over?
It's all paved now.
It's all paved now, so they're not adding to it, so I think. They gotta be
It's
a
all
no.
paved. That's one of the variants. I just wanted to.
Yeah, no, that's what I was doing too, I was thinking about that in the future.
Okay, so question 13, we have to check no. Question 14, impact on energy, the proposed action may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy. Yeah, that I believe is a no. Question 15, impacts on noise, odor, and light. Proposed action may result in an increase in noise, odor, or outdoor lighting.
It is a construction site. There's a apartment building next door, so I would say yes to noise and
Yes.
odor. Potentially.
The proposed action may produce sound above noise levels established by local regulation. Yes, moderate to large impact may occur.
I'm sorry,
We're on question 15 now.
okay,
15B, the proposed action may result in blasting within 1,500 feet of any residence, hospital, school, licensed daycare center, or nursing home. I don't think any blasting would be taking place at a, no, I hope not. Shouldn't be any blasting taking place at a tank site. But it's a no.
on A, what was our answer?
Yes,
A was yes. And 15C, the proposed action may result in routine odors for more than 1 hour per day. Yeah, that's yes, I think too, potentially. 15D, the proposed action may result in light shining into adjoining properties. That is yes,
So
during construction.
it will, but I don't think they're gonna be working at night, so they have a certain window by ordinance they can work in.
Okay.
7 to 5, I think. So 7 to 5, I don't think you're gonna have an issue with that, just, they can't work with.
there was a shade wall, so I think that's appropriate.
I don't think it'll be any more than the gas station already, so.
Right. Question 15E, the proposed action may result in lighting, creating sky glow brighter than existing area conditions. I believe that would be a no. Also, because we're against that. Question 16, impact on human health. Proposed action may have an impact on human health from exposure to new or existing sources of contaminants.
There's a potential there.
Yes, there's a potential.
Gasoline vapors are carcinogen. So it's not immediate, but it is chronic.
Right. So we will go through sub questions on 16. 16A, the proposed action is located within 1,500 feet of the school, hospital, licensed daycare center, group home, nursing home, or retirement community. I don't believe that is true. So, site of the proposed action is currently undergoing remediation. Is there any remediation on the site currently?
There is no.
There's completed emergency spill remediation or completed environmental site remediation on or adjacent to
No,
the site of the proposed action. Any remediation been done previously?
Not that I'm aware of.
The site of the action is subject to an institutional control limiting the use of the property. E.g. easement or deed restriction. No.
it is right next to the railroad right away, but it's not
Yes.
actually on it.
The proposed action may affect institutional control measures that were put in place to ensure the site remains protective, of the environment and human health. Yeah, I think we're taking in safeties that are quite place. Right. Keep the safety. Okay, 16F, the proposed action has adequate control measures in place to ensure that future generation, treatment and or disposal of hazardous wastes will be protective of the environment and human health. That is
It has it in place?
That's what it says. So
I
think their safety plan.
Yeah, well, the very fact that they're putting in these
Tanks.
tanks,
Right.
new tanks is,
So that's a no impact. Small impact.
Yeah.
Proposed action involves construction or modification of a solid waste management facility. That's a no.
No impact.
The proposed action may result in unearthing of solid or hazardous waste. That is a yes. Proposed action may result in an increase in the rate of disposal or processing of solid waste. No. The proposed action may result in excavation or other disturbance within 2,000 feet of a site used for the disposal of solid or hazardous waste. That's a yes. Proposed action may result in the migration of explosive gases from a landfill site to adjacent offsite structures. That is a no. The proposed action may result in the release of contaminated leachate from the project site. Yes.
well, leachate is. That's a term used for
Not just
a landfill water, isn't it? Isn't, I'm thinking,
I think it's
I've never heard it
any-
used any other way.
Contaminant, I think that could run off.
Yes, that's, I get it.
That's the only one we get wrong on this test, right?
So let me just, under that section, the ones that were answered moderate to large.
You're getting the official copy. Yeah, they're H
This-
J
to this
and
project.
L.
Potential, sure it does.
Any other impacts to discuss? Question 17. Community plans. Proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. That's. You go through that. I believe. Yeah, I've seen it.
This type of process.
Oh, depends on the customer.
Consistency with community character. The proposed project is inconsistent with the existing community character.
Travel all over the East Coast.
It's like neural.
You travel all over?
No.
Maybe. Well done. We completed part 2, part 3. So, was it B or C?
Yeah, B or C.
B states, although this project could have significant adverse impact on the environment, that impact will be avoided or substantially mitigated because of the following conditions will be required by the lead agency. Those conditions are the same as required by state DEC, by the county, and other agencies. Or we could go with option C, this project may result in one or more significant adverse impacts on the environment. And an environmental impact statement must be prepared to further assess the impact, possible mitigation, and explore alternatives to avoid, reduce those impacts. Accordingly, this positive declaration is issued.
I think it's the second one.
I think it's, also think it's B.
You just have to look at what you stated.
I mean, you can make these guys do a environmental impact study. I don't think it's, the job's that big. I mean, I think they basically said they're doing A, B, C, D, and E,
Yeah. And there is,
mitigate.
as I said, improvements and they're regulated
Yeah.
to do
Yeah,
that work correctly. There is an EnviroTrack.
and they actually have to do it by state, they have to replace those tanks. So.
I don't know.
EnviroTrack is on site.
Part,
EnviroTrack is on site for any kind of digging on the project time, and then they do send all of the excavator, anything that comes out of the ground goes to them, whether it's clean or dirty.
okay. Great.
So not
Except the water that goes into the top of the other.
It's filtered.
after it's tested.
So we're choosing one.
So we're choosing B. and, you can state basic regulation and their safety engineer on site. Environmental. Let's see. Sites. You mentioned environment track right
Counties. Soil and water will be on site. Testing they're part of the agency that's gonna test the water before it gets pumped into the storm drains. Make sure that situation's all fixed. The tanky's talking about gasoline floats. So it'll go into the tank, the gas will float, and then it'll come out the bottom, the water will come out the bottom, so it'll keep the any residual gasoline that may be in the water at the top. It will never meet that bottom pipe. It's called a underflow. I think it's called an underflow.
Sounds like an oil separator.
It's the same concept.
So I've written. Environmental engineer and testing done on site by EnviroTrack as well as Cortland County Soil and Water, New York State DEC regulations and testing. Absolutely. Okay, so we need to, is there a motion to declare option B on part 2 of this seeker? Okay, the motion. And the second?
Seconded.
All those in favor of declaring option B, I'll read it for the record. Although this project could have significant adverse impact on the environment, this impact will be avoided or substantially mitigated because of the following conditions, which will be required by the lead agency, environmental engineer and testing done on site, EnviroTrack, as well as the county soil and water, New York State needs regulations and testing. It's option B. All those in favor?
Yeah, I think you did that last point.
Oh, sorry. There will be, therefore, no significant adverse impacts from the project as conditioned, and therefore this condition negative declaration is issued. Condition negative declaration may be used only for unlisted actions. So. Do we get a second for that option B? Declaring negative?
Yep, Jim did.
Okay, so all those in favor of declaring option B, negative declaration? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you.
Did you sign everything? Needed to sign it there?
All right, agenda item number
Representative.
4.
Sure.
Who's that?
Did we do the site?
Andy might be.
Yeah, we approved the site plan, but I don't know if we officially made a motion for that separately.
Yeah, did we share?
You and then Tony.
Yep.
Approved the site.
That's correct.
So that's just for your signature. I think that's gonna stay with Andy as our official record, and then you'll get copies once it's. I have no idea what I'm talking about. It's got, yeah, it's got. The only one, no, the only one, yeah. That's what.
Vice chair.
Where you got this thing.
Yeah. Loving this out there.
Just ask
Andy,
Andy.
Andy will tell you where it's at.
But there's a pen if you need it.
Seeker motion to. And make a declaration. I will move you.
It is a negative declaration, John.
Sorry.
Option B.
No, well, it's one of those projects that you get. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Make sure.
Then when you get some project started.
Figure
Whether it
it out,
gets
figure it
nice or
out.
But this month,
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a-
Yeah.
It's not gonna be like to think
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at what I do.
or Wednesday was just a rain on this.
So
Yeah.
it's PYA, right?
That would make
Good.
It's the dewatering.
Protecting myself, I just, yeah. Water, anything you do, this land, it's like a landmine. You don't want to step on it.
Where are you from?
Naples,
Okay. Travel all over the country, working for,
it's mostly New York, Pennsylvania.
okay. You meant Naples, Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say that's.
That's a-
Yeah, hopefully you're next.
Where's?
If you're not, you're gonna.
South end of Florida.
Okay.
If I thought that we did that agenda, I should have put you back to back, but I didn't.
Yeah, about 2 hours to US.
Charge you for waiting.
No.
I'm gonna charge you. Peter's running, one of them, one or the other. Take the whole and divide in two. Yeah. Right, yeah, the deal, but I think this guy, this must be that. We'll put it back on the. You know, how they, it's an entrance, but how they go. First kid. But, yeah, they can't be brothers. I checked. Last time we checked. Alright, so on that property, it seems to me it's like a different dash, the other ones that you have, they have counties, which one you good one. It is a lot. If you sign one, but it's usually there's. But. If that. And the site plan is perfect. Yeah, there's a lot of sign. Trying to pull transportation.
That's the condition. with the
Drugstore. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I really, it's a lot of pluses, and I know, so the last time we met with the gentleman from Harry Carey, me and Eric. He seemed that he was the head of the ICE setup.
That's the official documentation.
Do we have him sign the secret?
He can, he's a representative of the group doing the work.
Okay.
It's not the spot for the lead agency. It's the spot.
Part-time job? He's just hired as a corporation counsel.
That's our-
Oh, they did? It's on the agenda. No, I don't think. Yeah, they have. It's a name I don't recognize. It's someone from out of the area, I believe. But we'll get a copy. It's all for the, he's sort of good there. I'm all for it. Thank you. Yeah, he's just. New judge over there.
Okay,
What's a step?
Andy.
He wants to be judge. So.
Were you to, so we did receive it, I'll tell you that.
Did,
If you're assuming you're gonna be there,
like,
There's some, I'll stop by if I mean, I got a lot of irons and fire right now, so if it's not me, it'll be one of my guys.
sounds good. Probably-
I do need that paperwork.
Yes, so.
Thank you.
Same
Somebody
conditions as the county.
Maybe until I do.
Correct.
What's next on the agenda?
44, Rickard.
Can we flip that around so Mr. Armstrong can, since 44 Rickard's not here,
Sure,
he's representing 43 Union.
I see. So, we'll move agenda item number 7 to the next item on the agenda.
Thanks, Ryan. Thank you.
And this is a site plan review for 43 Union Street.
Right, 43 Union's in a B2, it's residential property. It's gone through a couple stages already, as well as similar to the last one. As you're on, there was an interpretation rendered by the ZBA that allows it to be used as a 4-unit. Then as a result of that, a variance application, both variance application had to be made with ZBA because there's no room for the 10-foot buffer zone.
Yeah, so it's an R4. So, I mean, it's being used as multiple residents. Multiple residents need a 10-foot buffer between single and 2 families, and there's, if you go around the outside of that property, there's 3 or 4, 1 or 2 families there.
Yep.
And then also, because it is a residential zone, you need a 4-foot vegetative strip, and part of the driveway is on the neighbor's property.
So 2, 10.
Yeah, they did not get a variance for the unpaved driveway. They're gonna have that paved in a year, just like we've been doing with everybody else.
So then I think what the site plan is figured because of the change in the parking.
Yeah, so there's gonna be increased traffic because I added an apartment unit. So what happened with that was, real briefly, and I can, he kind of explained it. So there's a portion in the zoning law that allows for expanding a non-conforming use, which was in existence prior to the law. This is, so this was a multiple residence, as far back, if you look at the paperwork there. Was way before this was being used as a multiple residence already. So 3 units, 4 units is still a multiple residence as long as you don't expand the footprint of the building. And that was the interpretation that was my initial interpretation. So I presented it to the ZBA that way, because then it's their privy. They also made a positive declaration, whatever you want to call it, my interpretation. Because of that, then they went forward with the processes, which is they had to get a couple area variances, and now it has to get in front of you guys because it's technically going to increase parking. Which they've got a huge parking lot there, and then it'll be even nicer once it's paved with some drywalls.
Looked like your predecessor, even the zoning officer before you, was one that moved this to go to a 4, whatever. I mean,
No, it was a misinterpretation by the owner who since fixed it.
Okay. Alright.
So let's not dwell on it. The fact of the matter is we need housing in the city very badly. And when you can fix an issue like this, quite simple, by interpreting the law, that's the best way to do it, right? And in another 6 months, it's gonna be allowable use anyway, or probably more in 6 months, but. Honestly, I would have done a zone change because 90% of the houses in that area are multiple residences. If it wasn't for the fact that we're gonna have a new comp plan and new zoning law within a year or so, I'd have done a zone change.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Armstrong? No? Questions for Roy? All right, is there a motion to approve the site plan as presented to expand the parking? And follow follow the ZBA and say that the driveway will be brought in compliance.
Also, the parking has to be, the new parking plan.
Yeah.
Has to be designed to 384, 85. I think it's just 384, was it? It just has to, 382 to 385
So it needs to be in compliance
with the code, yeah.
yeah. So the new parking plan, so, I'm gonna just start that motion over. Sure. So,
The parking lot's gotta be compliant with our current ordinances.
Yeah. Okay, so, is there a motion that, accept the site plan following zoning's recommendation? And, have the
Parking lot brought into compliance
parking meet city code compliance
with the 15 months, in the same way you did the last one.
within the next 15 minutes. Okay.
Why are we giving them 15 months?
Cause it's the same concept. You can't pave a driveway in the middle of winter.
Summer.
Oh, yeah, they can do all summer, yeah, so give them that. But the whole point of this is because, yeah, I get what you're saying, sure, they got all summer to do it, but at least
This is good.
we're giving some relief. Alright, okay.
1 year.
It's consistent.
Like you made a motion, Chris made the motion. Mike did, well, Mike, I'll second it.
I just asked for. I poorly constructed the motion.
We got this.
Take your time.
I thought it was the best motion I've heard.
Real. More.
Okay, so any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Sorry for the slow,
Oh, hell.
slow
Don.
reading of seekers.
Yeah, it's not written in English, is it?
No.
Yeah, it's.
All right, back.
Struggle.
All right.
Do you want me to sign something again, Andy? Yeah.
Pleasure working with you, Don.
I'll say here. Appreciate it.
That's what I'm here for.
It's 4, 5, 6, but I think 5 and 6 might.
Five and six are just signatures.
Yeah, I think it's.
Just 4.
You need housing.
It's
Good housing.
Good, yeah, I thought this one.
You know,
Yeah, I think this.
so I guess I'll talk to you. About how the Z's change, right?
Good news is we'll have a corporation council to write the new law. Because it has to get filed, I think, or it might be just a map change. I don't think we'll figure out how to do it.
May just be a map change. I can ask Fran tomorrow too.
Still,
You know, Fran.
still change the law ordinance, so it's got a whole bunch of. Yeah.
All right, I think we go. Okay, now we'll go back to agenda item number 4. Site plan review for 40 to 44 Rickard Street.
That would be, I'm speaking for that one. Just keep an eye on, so the ZBA, so these guys have 3 dumpsters that aren't screened. And so fencing around anything, as you guys' privy. So the dumpsters have to be screened with fences on at least 3 sides, and the ZBA said they had to move one of them back from the street if it doesn't meet that 4-foot setback.
And we're putting in a higher fence than what's allowed just to screen it, correct?
6 foot, yes,
Versus 4 foot.
yes, so that was part of the area variance they had to get, because they're all in the front yard.
Right.
So they have to be, because of that, like you guys done in other places. Just so that somebody backing out of their driveway has to be 4 foot off that walk, so somebody can see them coming across that walk, so. I don't believe the one dumpster on the Rickard Street side is 4 feet off that walk. So they're gonna move it back a little bit.
I thought it was actually the height of the fence. for that same reason.
Yeah, it is, that's why, but if it's higher than that, you gotta move it, you gotta move it back so that you still have that 4 foot. View once you, it's the. They call it a site triangle. They have to be screened because they're having a lot, they have to be screened from the public way because they're a mess right now. I just don't, we get bunches of complaints from the people that live in the neighborhood because they're just overloaded and bulk items and everything, if you've ever driven through there, so hopefully this will also deter the amount of illegal dumping that's going on over there as well.
All right, does anybody have a motion to that effect? So we. Does anybody have a second? Site plan as. ZBA recommends. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes.
Which he'll sign.
Sign those.
Yeah.
And, I didn't see minutes.
No,
They got
I
lost.
lost, I don't know what happened. I took minutes here real time. And tried to clean up after the meeting while it's fresh and
So-
I gotta watch the video. I gotta watch that.
Okay.
Over.
So we'll have,
Aye.
Also, his assistant clerk was there that night taking him, if you remember, right? Because none of you guys,
That was ZBA.
I was gonna
Oh,
say.
that was ZBA?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you did an excellent job on those.
all right, so we'll look for another hat to throw
I
on.
thought I would
There you go,
get- I thought I would get two more, but you can't, but-
Okay, we'll just put it off till next quarter.
Okay, in that case, I think, is there a motion to adjourn?
I s- put the motion out there to adjourn the meeting.